Hello everyone, and welcome to the Iron Harvest Plus QuickStart tutorial. I'm going to try to get through how to play this massive scenario in just under 5 minutes. Trust me, this is going to go by pretty quickly, so pay attention. Once you start the scenario, you are going to spawn in this room. Before you continue, you need to make sure you're in creative mode and have all of the following DLC. If you don't have the DLC, then you're going to have to ask a friend to spawn your base in for you later on. Inside of this room are 4 button panels. You and your friends will need to decide which team to be a part of. If you're on the same team as a buddy, then you guys are going to be teammates and will work together. If not, then they're going to be the people that you will fight against in this scenario. When everyone is ready, just press this button and follow the path. At the end of the path is a building and a machine. You're going to use this machine to pick your faction. Use the button panel to rotate the machine and pick the faction you want to use. Each faction has its own unique playstyle, so have fun exploring the different options you have. Once you have picked your faction, press the Select Faction button. The faction base should spawn behind you. If you have all the DLC mentioned earlier, press Ctrl X on the red square. If you don't have the DLC, ask someone else to do it for you. Pick a map and then spawn your base in a corner facing inwards towards the middle. It is important that you do not move while it is pasting, or the base might spawn wherever you moved or looked to. You will want to repeat this process for everyone that is playing until everyone has a base on the map you're all playing. If you're playing on a bigger map, you can put players that are on the same team in the same corner like it shows on the screen now. If you want to play against the NPC AI faction or are playing solo, you're going to want to Control-C this base from the red block next to where you picked your faction. Put this in an empty corner just like the other bases you did before. Once you've done this, you will need to go into the terminal of the base and look for this group. This is literally everything in the base. Transfer it to whichever of the 4 teams you want to be in. Once you have completed this step, all you have to do to activate this base is press the button. This will start up the NPC and they will slowly begin to play the game on their own. Now that that is taken care of, you're going to want to do almost the exact same thing for your own base. Find this group and transfer it to yourself. Make sure it is set to share with faction. And just like that, you are ready to play. To play, all you have to do is make your first infantry unit right next to the red block. Press T to activate RTS mode. You can use your scroll wheel to zoom in and out, and hold R to rotate using your mouse. You can use W, A, and S, and D to pan the camera. Use left click to select the units, or use right click to give commands. This LCD found on your base will tell you how many resources you have. It will slowly increase during a match. To make the number go up faster, you're going to need to capture these oil pumps that are scattered across the map. You can capture these oil pumps by moving any ground unit to the pump, and it will change color to whatever team you're on. Air units cannot capture oil pumps. To unlock new units, press the research buttons found around your base. This will use some of your points to allow you to start building that unit type. It will also turn on this yellow light to let you know that you have this unit unlocked. The green light behind it means that you have enough money saved up to buy this unit. To buy a unit, just press the buy button under the research button. This will subtract from your points and spawn in a unit. Make sure the spawn area is clear for bigger units, or you might encounter a problem like this. To make defenses for your base, you will be using this tower found on top of your main building. Inside, all you need to do is add the turret controller to the hotbar. From here, you can move the tower and extend or retract it. When you buy a defensive structure, it will spawn wherever the tower is facing. Just be careful not to block the spawning area, or you might have a hard time trying to spawn in bigger units. To win the game, all you have to do is destroy or damage the enemy's firework launchers until their base turns off. If your own firework launcher is damaged or destroyed, you will lose the game. Protect your base at all costs and take out the enemy. If you want to play the game a little bit differently against your friends, you can set a timer and create new win conditions, like whoever gets the most points before time runs out wins, or whoever reaches a set point goal wins first. There are countless possibilities on how you can arrange a match. Just remember that playing on a bigger map will take way longer than it would on a smaller map. It might be a good idea to start small and then work your way up as you build experience playing the scenario. When you are done playing the match and want to play a new match, make sure to delete all the oil pumps and bases in the last match you played. This will make sure that you start with a clean slate and ensure that nobody's cheating with extra resource income when you play on a new map. That is all for the QuickStart tutorial. After this point, we're going to go into optional extra information for those of you that want to be experts in this scenario. To begin the advanced tutorial, let's start with obstacles. Each map has its own obstacles that you will face. Some of them will be as simple as buildings or trees that prevent bigger mechs from moving to the enemy in a straight line. Sometimes, the obstacles are big enough to be used as cover to protect your units from enemy fire. Other times, these obstacles can be lethal, like an explosive barrel or a hole that most mechs can't climb out of. Now let's go over some interesting mechanics that are unique to the mechs. Some factions have access to artillery mechs, and artillery mechs have a unique mechanic that is rare among other mechs. Because of their extremely powerful attack that can destroy obstacles and clear entire areas on the map, they have a long cooldown period where they are very vulnerable to enemy attacks. Because of this, you'll want to keep your artillery well defended and make them retreat after every attack. Most artillery cooldowns are around 2 minutes, but some of the weaker ones can be around a minute, and some of the more powerful units with cooldowns can be up to about 3 to 4 minutes. Melee mechs might not seem like the most useful unit, especially when almost every other unit can fight from a distance. However, melee can be very useful in some circumstances. For starters, melee units are usually a lot cheaper than other units. Additionally, melee units are also typically faster than other units. With both of these abilities combined, melee can actually be useful for pushing on enemy positions or reaching objectives before the enemy can. It's also worth noting that melee is an extremely dangerous task up close, and is essentially a death sentence for most units. Also, the melee unit may sacrifice itself in the process. Melee mechs can be decent cannon fodder or bullet sponges for the other units they're using. It can be a cheap way of taking out slow and expensive enemy mechs if you can close the distance between them. At first glance, mechs seem to be very well armored compared to infantry. However, they hold an explosive surprise. Every mech and airship has hidden weak spots where they could be ammo racked and instantly killed. If you know your enemy's weak spot, you can take advantage of it to take them out easier. Most units tend to have less armor behind them, so attacking units from behind is often the best approach. When you are researching mechs, you may notice that the button panel tells you what the mechs are designed for. Every mech has a unique purpose that can be vital to how you play against your foes. For example, if your enemy is spamming infantry units, you can use some anti-infantry type mechs to easily deal with the problem and counter their strategy. It's also important not to underestimate the power of infantry. Unlike mechs, infantry don't have any signals and are harder for enemies to spot if you keep them distracted. This makes them great for sneaking around and stealing oil pumps. Special infantry variants can also be used to counter specific targets, including mechs. Even something as simple as a field cannon can put mechs in a really tough spot if they're used strategically. Another thing to keep in mind is that most units work better in groups. A group of units with abilities that complement each other usually works better than a single unit working alone. Now we can cover some unique things relating to the base and economy system. When you are trying to defend your base, you have some options. Barbed wire is the cheapest kind of defense you can make. It can be shot through and pushed around, but it can also be really annoying to deal with and be helpful if you just want to delay the enemy infantry for a little bit. It can also be a great distraction against some units that target things nearby via sensor. Sandbags can block some shots and are stuck to the ground. These can block infantry completely and trip over mechs that attempt to walk over them. Landmines are a bit pricier than the other two options, but they have a very specific purpose. If someone is sending a very powerful mech to your doorstep and there's not much you can do to really defend against it, you can place a few landmines around. While landmines will be targeted by enemy weapons, any mech or infantry that misses them and steps on them will be hit with a lethal explosion. Aid stations are one of the more useful defensive structures you can place. While they're harmless to enemies, they are able to repair your base and everything else within range. They won't be replacing any missing arms or legs, but they can put out fires and keep things running out for a lot longer. If you want an excellent defense, make sure to have a good offense. Relying solely on defense can backfire significantly, as having too many defenses at your doorstep will cause them to block your line of sight, and it will only take the enemy a significant enemy force to just push right through, if they have enough units to absorb damage. Most wars tend to be a battle of economic strength and logistics. Oil pumps might not seem like much at first, but the extra income that they provide is vital to your victory in this scenario. Whoever has the most oil pumps will be able to produce more units than everyone else. If you can capture and hold every single oil pump on the map, then you are guaranteed to win. Even holding one oil pump is double the income of having no oil pumps, so it's important that you get them all before your enemy does. And last but not least, we finally get around to troubleshooting issues. Now this is one that you might run into from time to time. If you are given a unit commands and they refuse to listen, just give them a really weird command. Just give them something really bizarre, and then you're going to want to give the command that you actually want afterwards. That usually fixes them for some strange reason. If they continue to not listen, all you have to do is just exit the RTS mode by pressing T and then re-enter the RTS mode by pressing T again. That will allow them to be recognized by the RTS mod if they haven't been recognized already. Sometimes the units just won't show up in the RTS menu if they spawned after you activate RTS mode, which is why you just gotta press T twice. Now, for those of you that skipped the entire tutorial here because you cannot load the scenario on your PC and you don't know why it's freezing on startup, here's a few things that might help. If you're trying to load the scenario and it freezes while loading, you might need to lower your graphics and turn off shadows. If you're running on a lower end machine, you should really be on the lowest graphics while playing the scenario. You could turn up your graphics after the scenario finishes loading, but I would be careful as there are a lot of grids that are going to be loading in. A second option is you close and reopen the game, and this is probably the one I go to the most. If the game freezes on loading, just force close the game and try again. It might take a few tries, but eventually you're going to get into the game. Now, if the problem still continues and you're just completely unable to load the scenario for any reason, just try reinstalling the game, and that's the last thing you should try. This has fixed the problem for a few of the people that have tested out the scenario during its construction phase. Only do this as a last resort. Make sure to back up any saves or anything you don't want to lose when you reinstall the game. I don't know why that fixes the issue, it might be a multiplayer or a mod issue, but for some reason, reinstalling fixes the issue and nothing else does. If there are any other issues that I have not covered, feel free to leave a comment under this video or under the scenario's Steam page for help. Thank you for watching.